I know this is almost 2 weeks late, but we're doing it anyway. You read the title screen. This is the mid-year book Freakout tag. I was inspired by Jesse the Reader to do this tag. He is a really funny dude, and I'll put a link to his channel down in the description. You should check him out after you watch this video, of course. And I'll also put the link to the original creators down in the description, but I can't remember them. I just know that Jesse had them in his description. First question is, best book you've read in 2017? If you've been watching my channel, it's no surprise that it's going to be the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. Not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it because I did an entire video on it, and I'll put a link to that video up in the info card, whatever, and down in the description below. Second book, the best sequel you've read in 2017 was I Hate Fairyland. I think I talked about this in one of my other videos some point, but it's a little comic book, and because it's a comic book, it didn't suffer from the whole like second book syndrome that a lot of books do, which, you know, is great and wonderful, and it was still just as violent, gory, and foul-mouthed as the first one, so I still loved it. And it's basically about a little girl that gets trapped in fairyland for like 30 years, so she's like a 40-year-old trapped in a 6-year-old's body, and it's just amazing. It's wonderful. If you like that kind of thing, like if you like gritty humor and gory humor wrapped up in a very cutesy style, it's for you. Number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I haven't even gotten through the second book in this series, so I've heard good and bad things about this. I've heard some people say it's a little bit problematic, but I'll give it a shot. I already bought the book, so I can't really do more damage. And most anticipated release for the second half of 2017 is God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. I'll put a picture of it here. It's basically just the sequel to Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, and I've had God's Grave pre-ordered for months now, and I can't wait to get it in September or November. I don't remember exactly when it comes out, but not soon enough. The biggest disappointment of 2017 for me was Black Hearts by Nicole Casterman. I expected more pirates. There were very few pirates. Like, it's the story of Edward Teach, who later goes on to be Blackbeard, and yeah, there's like no pirates. The entire story pretty much takes place in one town and in one mansion, so it was really boring, honestly. Like, I didn't like it, and I think because I went in with the expectation of more pirates. Most surprising book this year was Zebulon Finch, or The Death and Life of Zebulon Finch, Volume 1, At the Edge of Empire by Daniel Kraus. It's about this kid that dies. Well, he's not really a kid, but he wakes up and is undead, and it basically chronicles like the first 50 years of him being undead. And I'm really excited for the second book to come out in paperback in August, so I can read that and have them matching covers. And yeah, it was just a really good book, and it was really surprising because it was totally a cover buy, totally like not expecting a whole lot from it, and then I got it and I loved it. So yeah. Favorite new author, N.K. Jemisin. I don't think I can stress that enough in any of my videos. Newest fictional crush, if I had to pick one, I haven't really had a crush on any of the characters that I've read yet this year. Would probably be Nathan from Parasite by Mira Grant, just because he's like super nerdy, super loving, and you know, he's a good guy from what I can tell so far. Who knows, maybe in the third book he'll turn evil or something, but so far he's been a stand-up guy. Newest favorite character is again Zebulon Finch, just because you don't like him at first. Like, he's an asshole at first, and you end up kind of feeling sorry for him, but also a little bit like, you deserve this. And there's some messed up stuff in this book, honestly. Like, just read it. It's a really good book, and I highly recommend it. Number 10, a book that made you cry. Books don't normally make me cry. I don't know if I just kind of steer clear of the books that do, or if I'm just, you know, a heartless bitch. But probably, I can't remember if this one actually made me cry or if I just got really close to it. It was Trainee by Laura Jane Grace. She is the lead singer for the punk band Against Me, which if you haven't listened to their stuff, I highly recommend it. I Was a Teenage Anarchist was pretty much like my theme song my junior and senior year of high school. It's a really great band, but she is transgender, and this is kind of the story of her figuring out that she was transgender and dealing with all of her like gender dysphoria and learning to love herself and dealing with being in the public eye and being transgender. So if you want like the story of someone that's transgender and is like in the public eye like that, read Laura Jane Grace's book. The book is heartbreaking, like really heartbreaking, because it starts when she's like just a little kid and like dealing with everything and hiding it for so long, and then figuring out that, you know, figuring out what she wanted and then still having to fight for it and like just fighting every step of the way to be who she wants to be and losing a lot in the process and still going just to be the person she's meant to be. And totally unrelated to all of that, but the art at the beginning of each chapter is just like amazing and I love it. So if you're into punk, if you're into music at all or biographies at all, if you're into LGBT stuff, this is a good book to read. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It is heartbreaking, but it is so worth the read, and I think that a lot of people should read it just because it's really hard to understand what someone goes through when they're going through that process, and that's a really good look at what happens and what people have to deal with just to be who they are. But yeah, highly recommend that book by Laura Jane Grace. A book that made you happy is, once again, where'd it go? The Fifth Season, just because there were a lot of LGBT characters that were portrayed beautifully, there was a polyamorous relationship that was portrayed beautifully, and the majority of the characters were not white. I go into more depth of that in my review if you go and watch that. But yeah, this just made me really happy to read, and like every couple pages I was just like, yes, this is how you write fantasy. But this is another super surprising book because this was another like complete cover buy. Didn't know anything about it going into it, and now she's one of my favorite authors. So number 12, a favorite book to movie adaptation. I haven't seen that many movies this year, like new movies, and I don't even really know if there have been a lot of book to movie adaptations so far. I guess Beauty and the Beast would be the only one that really could go under that category. Your favorite book review you've done this year? I've only done one. It was The Fifth Season, but it was a really good book. Even if I had done more reviews, that would probably still be my favorite review. Most beautiful book you've bought this year is, again, probably Zebulon Finch. I mean, I showed you the cover a minute ago, but just look at it. It's gorgeous, and the back is pretty, and it's a beautiful book. And just the way it's written is beautiful, the outside's beautiful. Read this book. And what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I am currently 25 books behind on my Goodreads goal. My goal for the year was 100, and I'm only at like 27, 28. So I have a lot of reading to do. And I don't know how that's gonna work out. I don't think I'm gonna make it to 100, but I'm hopeful. So that wraps up the end of the year book tag for me. I really wish that I would have been closer to like being on track for my Goodreads goal, because if I had 50 books read, I would have had a wider range of books to talk about other than just these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. Or I guess 8 counting God's Grave. But yeah, I know I kind of sped through some of these, so if you want to talk about books more, comment down below. And if you like this video and you think you like my other videos, subscribe, like this video, do whatever. You know the drill, it's YouTube. We have to beg for likes and subscriptions in every video. So, yeah, I think that's it.